Hello, friends. Today at school, we talked about another holiday that's coming up. I think our whole class, or most of our class, was aware that there was a holiday called Christmas coming up. But there's another holiday coming that some of you may not celebrate, but some of you might, that starts this Friday. And it's called Hanukkah. So today, we read a Hanukkah book in class that I also wanted to record, so you could either listen to it at home if you're our school friend, or you could hear the story that you weren't here for if you're a home friend. Shh. The story is called Sammy Spider's First Hanukkah. Now, those of you who know me really well know I'm not a huge fan of spiders, but this is a good one. Sammy Spider shivered in his web high up on the Shapiro's living room ceiling. We talked about shivering could be from being scared or nervous, but it can also be when you're cold, like when you first get out of a pool, somebody said. "Look, Mother," he called. "What is Mrs. Shapiro lighting?" "That's a menorah," answered Mrs. Spider. "The Shapiros are celebrating Hanukkah. They will light one more candle every night for 8 nights. "It's beautiful," said Sammy, as he lowered himself on a strand of webbing to take a closer look. "Be careful," warned Mrs. Spider. "Don't get too close." A spider getting too close to a fire wouldn't go well, would it? It was the first night of Hanukkah. Sammy stopped right above the shamash, the helper candle that Mrs. Shapiro had used to light the first candle. "Mother, the flame feels so good on my cold feet," Sammy said. Mr. Shapiro reached into his pocket and handed Josh a bright blue dreidel. Sammy hovered above the flame and listened as Mrs. Shapiro told Josh the story of the Maccabees and the miracle of the oil. The smell of frying potato latkes filled the room. I can smell that smell even though we're not making them right now. I don't know if you've ever smelled that smell, but it's a good one. Josh gave the dreidel a spin and squealed with delight. It was spinning so fast that Sammy felt a little dizzy watching from above. When the candles had melted and the flames flickered out, the Shapiros announced bedtime and took Josh upstairs. "Shh. It's your bedtime too, Sammy," called Mrs. Spider. Sammy climbed the strand of silk webbing and crawled into a cozy corner. Mrs. Spider gently tucked him in. "Mother," asked Sammy, "do you think I could have a blue dreidel to spin?" "Silly little Sammy," his mother laughed. "Spiders don't spin dreidels. Spiders spin webs." They also don't usually talk, right? On the second night of Hanukkah, Sammy watched expectantly as Mrs. Shapiro helped Josh light 2 candles. His feet were cold, and he wanted to warm them near the flame again. Tonight, Mr. Shapiro gave Josh a bright red dreidel. Now he had 2 to spin. Do you think he can spin them both at the same time? Have you ever tried spinning a dreidel? Or 2? Everyone sang Hanukkah songs and ate donuts filled with sweet red cherry filling. The spinning dreidels made Sammy even dizzier. That night, when Mrs. Spider tucked Sammy into his soft web, he asked, "Mother, do you think I could have a little red dreidel to spin?" "Silly little Sammy," his mother answered. "Spiders don't spin dreidels. Spiders spin webs." Haley. Sorry. On the third night, Sammy once again warmed his feet above the menorah. See it right here? And watched as the Shapiros used the shamash to light 3 candles. They gave Josh a yellow dreidel. Now he had 3 dreidels to spin. The dreidels twisted and twirled across the floor until the red one dropped, then the blue, and at last the yellow. Mother, could I have a yellow dreidel to spin? Sammy asked at bedtime. Silly little Sammy, she said. Spiders don't spin dreidels. Spiders spin webs. Each night, Sammy watched from his warm perch above the shamash. On the 4th night, the Shapiros lit 4 candles and gave Josh a green dreidel. On the 5th night, they lit 5 candles and gave Josh a purple dreidel. On the 6th night, they lit 6 candles and gave Josh an orange dreidel. On the 7th night, they lit 7 candles and Josh got a rose-colored dreidel. Sammy had to raise himself a little higher on his web because his feet were getting hot from all those flames. On the 8th night, Sammy felt sad as he watched the Shapiros light all 8 candles and give Josh a brown wooden dreidel. I'm going to miss Hanukkah, he thought. I won't smell the delicious latkes. I won't hear any Hanukkah songs. I won't be able to watch Josh spin all his colorful dreidels. And how will I warm my feet? If only I could have just one dreidel, he thought, as the 8 dreidels danced merrily across the floor. What fun I would have. Then he remembered his mother's words. Spiders don't spin dreidels. Sammy, spiders spin webs. But when the last candle flickered out and Sammy climbed reluctantly up the web to bed, look, even spiders don't like to go to bed. His mother smiled, handed him a gift, and said, Happy Hanukkah, Sammy. I wonder what it will be. I wonder if you remember, if you were here. Sammy opened the package and found 8 little socks. Why are there 8? Because spiders have 8 legs. 1 for each night of Hanukkah and 1 for each of his 8 little feet. Each sock was a different color, and on each one, Mrs. Spider had spun a little dreidel. See them on the end of his socks here? Sammy pulled on his new socks. There was a blue one, a red one, a yellow one, a green one, a purple one, an orange one, a rose-colored one, and a brown one. It's a lot of socks. He slid happily down a silky strand and began to spin faster and faster. Look, Mother, he shouted. I'm spinning my dreidels, all 8 of them. So he spun down on his web and he spun in a circle and he put his feet up and he said he was spinning his dreidels. Isn't that silly? Sammy's first Hanukkah. So today we made a little dreidel. Home friends, I'll send it home for you so you can make one too if you'd like to over the weekend. I hope you enjoyed our Hanukkah story. Thanks for joining.